Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you one way that we can use Photoshop to create something useful and real in the world that we live in. I have a friend who is a musician and she is going to be playing in the Cargo Bar, which is a live music venue in Saigon, Vietnam. She's going to be playing next week and she asked me if I would use my IT skills to create a poster for her to advertise her live performance, because she's not very good at that kind of thing. So I said, yeah, okay, and I'm going to be using Photoshop to do that. So I've already started a little Photoshop project. I've got a little window here with a microphone in it that I'm going to be using, and I really need to create a kind of a poster window where I can kind of drag everything in and to create my poster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to how big is this going to be? I want it to be A4 size, just an A4 piece of paper. Let's go to Presets, paper. Let's try International Paper. Oh, there we go, size A4. That's exactly what I'm looking for. A4 paper. Okay, now we have some A4. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to look at this layer here, which is my microphone, and I'm going to use the magic wand to get rid of all that white area. The magic wand should let me do it quite quickly. So there we go. Now I can press delete on my keyboard and I've got rid of all that white. Now Control D to deselect the running line. There we go. And now I'm going to drag this into my A4 paper. Whoa, it's pretty small, huh? Control T to transform the size, and let's just make that a bit bigger. It looks blurry at the moment, but hopefully when I click enter it'll be okay. It's fine. Good. So let's just maximize this window and look at what we've got. Brilliant. So let's put that over there. Now what we're going to look at today is how to use shapes to help us create things like posters and that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the Shape tool. Got all these shapes here, rectangles, rounded rectangles, ellipses. We've got the Custom Shape tool. So let's go into that Custom Shape tool right now. And as you can see, at the top of Photoshop in the menu bar, we've got this shape option here. And when I click on that, wow, look at all these shapes that I can mess around with in Photoshop. Now if you can't see all these shapes, it might be that it's only showing you some subcategories. For example, shapes. You might just be seeing that or something like that. If you want to see everything, click on the little arrow, just select all and OK that, and you'll see all the shapes. And you can resize that window as you want. Now what I'm going to take is a music note, if I can find one. That's the one that I want. There we go. Just going to double click on that and drag it out onto the poster canvas. Now it doesn't look very good at the moment. It's grey. I don't really want it to be grey. It's a little bit big, so Control T. I'm just going to put that down. I'm just going to rotate that, stick that up there, maybe stick it out there. I might have a few of these eventually. Now what I can do to mess around with this is select the layer that the shape is on and go to the FX button, and here we've got lots of different effects that we can add to the shape. I'm just going to go to blending options, and that will open up a window where I can now access all of those different options quite easily. Now the first thing I'm going to do is change the color, and I've changed it to red, but again I can change it to any color I want, and what I want to do is change it to a much softer red. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. And I'm gonna also let's just mess around here a little bit. What is this bevel? Ooh, okay, that's interesting. That doesn't seem to do very much. Ooh, that's interesting. That gives me a nice kind of 3D effect. I like that. I'm going to keep that. Okay. So I've got one musical note coming out of my microphone. Control T. I'm just going to rotate that a little bit. Now this layer here, my musical note, yep, that's my musical note. I'm just going to right click on that and duplicate it. That means I'm going to make a copy of the layer. And now we have another musical note. So I'm just going to look at the effects here, go back to color overlay and change that to a soft blue. Brilliant. Okay, Control T. Let's just kind of make that a little bit bigger, turn it around, rotate it. And now we're starting to mess around with shapes. So please feel free when you're creating your own poster just to mess around with different shapes. We can also mess around with text in Photoshop. So let's have a look at how to do that. I'm going to click on the text tool. I'm just going to click, I'm not going to click and drag, just click, and I'm going to start typing. Live at, okay, that's not working, something's wrong. Let's try that again. Do you see that layer there? I'm just going to trash that. Bye bye. Let's try that again. Text tool, click, and start typing. Live at the cargo bar. So there's my text. Don't worry that it looks very small. What I do is I just go back to the selection tool. I move it where I want to move it, and I Control T. There we go. And now we can start resizing it. Now the color isn't very good. I don't really want that blue. So again, I'm going to go to the FX option and do some color overlay. I don't really want it to be red. I want it to be a light gray. Okay. And what other options do we have here? We looked at bevel. I don't really want that this time. Inner glow, outer. Oh, drop shadow. All right, let's have a look at drop shadow. Ooh, that's all right, isn't it? That's not too bad. Okay, brilliant. I don't really like that font, so I'm going to go back to the text tool and just select all of that. Going to come up to my font thing here and see if I can find a better one. Easy way to do this is click in there and use the up and down arrow keys on your keyboard to scroll through the different fonts. And you can try and find one quite quickly that you want to use in your composition. Nearly there. I'm sure I'm going to find one. That's nice. I'm going to go with that one. So live at the cargo bar, I've got an image here, I've got some shapes happening here, and over the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm going to continue working on this. Just before I leave you to mess around with these ideas, I'm going to show you one thing that I discovered the other day in Photoshop. With all the layers that I've got, these are all the layers at the moment, I'm going to make another layer, which is an adjustment layer called Solid Color. Check this out. Wow, awesome. Oh, brilliant. Well, maybe not too brilliant. What color do I want my poster background to be? Kind of just a soft yellow. That's not bad. So now I've got this adjustment layer, which is just a big yellow color fill, and I'm going to drag that under everything else. And now I have a yellow background. Now notice, I'm just going to drag that into the trash can. There were some other options there. There was gradient, which is quite interesting. You can mess around with gradients as a background. Or, let's just drag that into the trash can. There was another one which was pattern. And you've got all these patterns to play with. And notice in all of these little windows that pop up, if you see a little black arrow, it means there are some other options that you can play with. Okay? And you can mess around with different options in Photoshop. and it's just a lot of fun to play. Wow, that looks a bit weird. Anyway, that's all I'm going to share with you today. Have fun creating your posters.